Good.
Love that.
Zoom right into you, right away. I'm like, why did you think?
I know. It's a fun practice in how little I can move for 2 hours, which is, yeah.
Yeah, so we just need, someone else to do some jumping jacks, so it locks into them, it's better looking. Ah. Yeah.
Okay, I don't hear the bell, but we'll call it. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The village and town of New Paltz Forge humbly acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of the Munsee, Sopus, and Lenape people. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 forced the people to relocate to inhospitable territory far from the bountiful valley and mountains we inhabit today. The village further acknowledges that much of the physical structure of our village and town was built by enslaved Africans who labored as the property of their owners until 1827 on this very land. We acknowledge and honor the contributions, resilience, and accomplishments of the BIPOC community, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, who have overcome historic injustice to inform our past and inspire our future. The Village of New Paltz encourages everyone to learn more about the contributions and sacrifices made by the Indigenous people and enslaved Africans by visiting these sites. If you have resources that you believe should be included, please contact us. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks, Dee Dee. So, for tonight's order of events, we have had 2 village public hearings that were noticed for the beginning. So we'll start with those and then go into the usual order, and it's laid out in the agendas too. So, I move to open the first village public hearing of the night, the Village of New Paltz Community Development Needs, and to discuss the possible submission of 1 or more community development block grant CDBG applications for the 2026 program year. Actually, I think, did we want to invite Mark up first, or?
Sure, I'll just address everybody from a convenient spot here.
Cool, awesome.
This fellow.
And it's picking them up.
I have a handout that I can give to the town build board, pass that along. What we put on the website describing the application tonight, is available here. There's a stack of them in the upper left corner there. It's a budget, it's a map, it's a description of the proposed project we're talking about tonight. We published 2 notices, it's rather long-winded, but my job is to try to explain quickly and simply what it's all about. I'm Mark Lauer, the grant writer. I've worked in Ulster County since 1983 on various projects. I've worked for the village since 2010. I'm not an engineer, I'm not a planner. My job is to write grant applications that have a good chance of winning. And if they win, to help the village implement the project correctly, so you can go back and get more. The idea is to get the money, spend the money, go back for more. This year, we are taking advantage of another opportunity to open annually from the state of New York. The U.S. Department of Husbandry Congress gets money called the Community Development Block Grant Program. About $50 million here from New York State. The other 49 states get like or similar amounts. And the New York State Office of Community Renewal each year has a competition for part of this money. We've been taking advantage of that competition since 2010. The last 5 years we've won. Typically $1 million, but more recently 1.5 million. We have been using these funds to address a serious need that the village has, which is the DEC consent order, which relates to the Riverkeepers lawsuit against the village back in 2003, because the old sanitary sewer system is rather leaky. And that when you have a heavy rainstorm or high groundwater, you get a lot of water into the sanitary sewers that date back to maybe 1910. And those cracked and broken lines tend to put a lot of otherwise clean water down the treatment plant. And when you overload the treatment plant, you know, the treated sewage going into the wall bill. So we were cited for that, and we've been making effort for the last 15 years that I've been here trying to address that. And the consent order is still in effect. And when we get very heavy rains, there are occasions when manholes pop up and you've got sewage coming out, which is obviously not good. So we have another opportunity to apply this year. Typically, a project can be up to $1.5 million. If we have a co-funded project with somebody else's money involved, we'll get up to $2 million. We've been trying to take this on a bit at a time, rather than take on a $20 million project all at once, which village residents mostly will pay for. We are trying to break it up into pieces that we can get a bit each year. And then each year, after we get a portion of the work done, which is typically relining sewer mains, or replacing sewer mains, or relining or replacing manholes, then you assess each year with the DEC, have you made progress? Eventually, there'll be a day that the DEC says you no longer have to keep renovating your sanitary sewer system. And again, the purpose of the grant program that we applied for is not to have all the burden on residents of the village. We have to borrow that. So this year we have another project idea in mind, which is represented by the budget here, the map, and description from our engineer and our public works director of what we have in mind. In particular, we are trying to replace some facilities at the wastewater treatment plant. There's access road out in Huguenot, where you can get to the sanitary sewer treatment plant, just adjacent to the wall field. We're proposing to replace some older facilities that are sometimes really well. One unintended consequence of doing all the work we have done is that by relining sanitary sewer mains, they tend to have less friction in them, and we concentrate the effluent sewage more quickly. And if you concentrate it more quickly at the treatment plant, you have potential for overwhelming the plant, where the very smallest pipes can be overwhelmed. So this year's application involves replacing about 900 feet of sanitary sewer main just outside the treatment plant, and some also replacement of sewer mains or relining of sewer mains on the upper stretches of Huguenot from Mulberry to the end of that Henry Court, and we'll get a work out of Henry Court. This work was recommended by our public works director, was analyzed by our engineering firm, Renier Warriors. They provide me with an estimate and a map, which is here. And based upon the fact that for the last 5 years, we've won with sewer projects, my recommendation is to go with another sewer project. We could apply for roads, we could apply for sidewalks, apply for streetlights, any number of things, but what tends to win is the fact that we have a consent. And the state takes it very seriously when there's consent. So that sidewalk might be a nice thing to do, but it doesn't have the same urgency of having the threat of being fined. You have to. Sidewalks are important, roads are important, however, if you have raw sewage on the ground, that's rather bad. So, we're trying to address the DEP, and they're right here, just down the road here in town. If they see an overflow, they're gonna notice it very quickly, and people are gonna notice it very quickly. So again, what we're proposing this year, I'm proposing, up to the village board to decide what they want to apply for between now and July. The application is due in July. I'm suggesting we apply that to sewer work, and this is your opportunity to give us your thoughts about this budget that I have to look here, or to suggest something else, or to suggest other priorities that will be considered. And I'll just add that if you have any questions or comments, I'll address them. If you have any questions or comments from the village board, they'll address them. Make the clerk's task easier to identify who you are, and we'll put your specific comments in the application. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. That was a great presentation. Always look forward to it. So, I had started to motion and realized we wanted to hear from Mark first. So now I actually moved to open the first village public hearing of the night, regarding the, 2026 CFA application for the Office of Community Renewal, Community Development Block Grant Program Funds. Somebody wants to second it?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So if anyone had any comments on this, then you would be unique because we tend not to get a lot of comments. But hey, we can hear them all year round and apply them to the next time too. So hearing none, is it okay? Would you think it's okay for me to close this one and move on? Oh,
One question.
No, it's
Sure.
really not a question. I just want to thank you for the work you've done. I'm not
Yeah.
somebody who participates in the village thing so much because I live just up by Sunset Ridge. But it's really good to hear that that kind of work has been going on in the village because given the consolidation, we want to be sure the town that we're not going to pick up the cost of what becomes village concern. So thank you.
Very good point, thank you.
thanks, Maggie. It's a very good point. We're handling it. All right, so I move to close this first public hearing of the night.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And now I just will quickly move to open the second village public hearing of the night. In the same vein, this one is basically the Office of Community Renewal, CDBG, Community Development Block Grant Program Funds Project. Do I have to read the whole thing? Project number 793.
I would recommend it.
I know, I'm like, I try to do it and then if I get it wrong, yeah. So we have extra copies of it there. It's been noticed online. So do I have a second opening this one?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any comments on this?
Be interested again.
What?
Let me give a summary.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Okay, it's me, Mark Flower. I wrote a grant application in the summer of, I think it was, 2023, and it's more of the same sanitary sewer relining and replacement. That work was, bid in last year, 2025. The firm that is doing the work, you may have seen them doing the work, is called Arrow Construction. They're a WBE, which is actually a Feather Dark Hat, a women-owned business. And they do a very fine job, and we're having this hearing because we're giving the public an opportunity to comment on something that's winding down. You know, before, the idea is get spend the money to go back and more. This is an example of a project like the one I described here, that we're gonna go after, that was approved. $1.5 million. The work is continuing, it's not entirely done. Our engineer tells me that the work is continuing on Works Avenue, North Front Street, Church Street, and that asphalt restoration will occur the latter part of June. So if you're trying to drive around town, I'm sorry for you, it's gonna be a little more disruptive yet, but we are winding that project down with Arrow Construction. And we have another project that we're not talking about tonight that was approved in December of last year, which is more of the same, sanitary sewer work. That project is getting close to being ready for bidding. So we'll have another project that will likely start again in the fall related to sanitary sewer work on various streets. Again, we've been undertaking a very long-term effort to deal with the consent order, so we don't get further fines. There was an occasion years ago, the village had to be fined $5,000 and could have been fined up to $35,000 for having overflows of the sanitary sewer system. So we're trying to desperately avoid that and to show them that we're doing everything we can without taking on a lot of debt to residents. So that project with Arrow Construction, you may have seen them working in town, and that is winding down. I expect that we're going to have a final payment request in July. This is your opportunity to give any questions, ask any questions or give any comments about that ongoing project.
Thank you, as always, Mark, and thank you for that great summary. Anyone have comments on this public hearing? All right, I'm going to, and that takes us to just about the time that we had noticed, so that's perfect. Minus a minute, but so, hearing no comments, I will move to close the second public hearing too. All in favor? Awesome.
I just know one thing, I'm already working with Nancy and Nicole. We're going to have a request for qualifications for engineers on a project not yet funded. The idea is that when we are approved, hopefully approved in November, December, that we would have our federal procurement procedures already out of the way. That's a request for qualifications. The village board takes the responses, they score the responses, determine who's the top scoring firm, but then you set it aside, waiting for the funding. The idea again, and what impresses the state with us, is that we get the money, we spend the money, and we do it quickly. And we're not a problem. And we don't want to be a problem. So that we have a history of just getting the money and using it and going back when we were. In addition, I've worked closely with Blue and John Davidson. Our project this year outside this treatment plant isn't in the 100-year floodplain. So we'll be publishing floodplain notices, telling the public that we're going to be working the floodplain, frankly, because there's no choice other than working the floodplain. You can't move the treatment plant.
Yeah.
But there will be notices I'll be working on with Nicole and Nancy for that. You'll see that the public have an opportunity to comment on the fact that we'll be working in the floodplain. But that's the quick summary, and I'll be relying on Blue and John to do their part, and then you can have a whole series of forms to sign in the next few weeks. That's like typical, like Tim was signing in former years,
Yeah.
and then we'll hit that. They haven't opened the round yet, but I can almost guarantee applications will due July 30th.
Okay. Awesome, thank you. And I will make sure to make a copy of the signing sheet from tonight's meeting and get that to you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you. So on that note, anyone who didn't sign in, if you could sign in, it will help us with these two public hearings that we opened and closed for the village to get all this work done, to show that we did in fact have the public here and the public cares about our sewer work. All right. On to the approval of our agendas. So I move to approve the joint business agenda. No one had any changes? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Should we do our village and town ones at the same time? Let's just get them done right now.
Yep.
Yeah, I move to approve the village consent and business agendas as they are online.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I move the town consent and business agenda. Someone want to second it?
Second.
On favor?
Awesome. Announcements. The town had a lot of announcements printed on the agenda. Did you want to share any of them
No,
aloud?
they're all written here and, they're available online, so people are encouraged to check them out. Probably the most important one is the pool announcement. We're actively awaiting the new pump, and once we receive it and then with a plan to get it installed, then we'll know when we'll be able to accept applications for summer pool passes.
Awesome. So I have some announcements on the village end. I'll get through them as quickly as possible. Just an FYI, at our last meeting, we approved the dates for the dorm cleanout project, but I have to shift those dates, because obviously it didn't happen today, to next week. Already have it cleared out with our public works and a plan in place with volunteers. But I want to announce that as a part of diverting all of this awesome reusable stuff from the campus into the hands of people who need it. We will be hosting a pop-up community clothing swap and really free market right next door in that old firehouse garage bay next Thursday, May 28th from 12 noon until 7 p.m. I will be sharing out some awesome flyers that our dear friend Limina created as soon as I get a chance to. So that's next week. The free food fridge is open here at 25 Plattekill Avenue. If you would like to volunteer, get in touch with me in any of the ways that you know how. You can find me upstairs, you can find me in town. There's also a mutual aid activist group that meets 6 p.m. every Monday at Snugs in the back porch at Snugs, specifically to organize folks to take on tasks in the mutual aid realm, including cleaning the free food fridge, organizing the weekly community meals that happen here on Tuesdays. I'll tell you all about that in a second. And just doing, every few weeks, just community trash pickup. So you can join that group or just get in touch with me if you want to help the fridge. So Tuesdays, there are still going to continue to be free community meals until the volunteers get worn out. So thank you so much to everyone for keeping this going. The plan is to keep it going all summer too. So every Tuesday, right here at Village Hall in the old garage bay, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Tuesdays. I just want to share that the rental registry is back online for the first time in a few years. It is right on the homepage of the village website. This is a great tool for checking out if you are considering renting an apartment, in the village. Make sure it's legal and it's, inspected and not a fire trap. You can check it out on our website. And if you don't see your future rental on there, you can just give us a call, and we can give you the most updated information on that. So very excited about that. It's something I've worked on for 10 years, so that's cool. And on that note, just want to share, I'm sure everyone saw Tim's announcement that, the village is officially one of the 2 municipalities that achieved the gold status in the county's Housing Smart Communities Initiative. So that's really exciting. The rental registration law and the rental registry were a big part of that. Same with our Landlord Tenant Relations Council, which, by the way, if you're a landlord in the village, we could use another volunteer or two. At our meetings, we usually have awesome snacks. So come through, and we could take you if you're a tenant too. We can find, there's jobs for everyone. So you want to volunteer in that council, it's been pretty active, which is awesome. So come reach out. We will be painting the Pride crosswalks by Hasbrook Park Monday, May 25th at 12 noon. We're looking to also do the other crosswalk that kind of reaches it perpendicularly with the rest of the Pride Progress flag. So inserting the trans flag there. Pending paint, so I have to check the paint situation after this meeting. New Paltz Pride March and Festival. There are flyers out about all the other community events related to Pride over at the table where the agendas were. But the big event is Sunday, June 7th. So check out all those flyers if you are interested in volunteering or having a booth or getting involved in any way. NewPaltzPrideCoalition.org. And just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone involved in making the Hometown Heroes banners possible. And anyone else have quick announcements? Cool.
I had a question about the hydrant flushing. Is the village also flushing the same time as the?
Yes, and
right.
I didn't write down because I was literally just talking to Blue. But yes, we are doing that next week. So same time, I guess. Yeah. Hydrant flushing. Okay. It's on the village website, the announcement. So you should all get little notices if you sign up for alerts. I recommend it. Cool. Okay, let's move on to some public input on anything. So just wanted to share some ground rules. Stana, could you help me and pass that sign-in sheet my way? I'll just kind of go through that just to have some order. But of course, we're not limited to people who are on this sheet. So just want to say, please like share your name, feel free to share your relationship to the community. It seems like Stana wants to make the first one.
No, I don't want to comment. I was signed in for the list.
Okay, cool. Then Stana does not want to make a comment. Awesome. Thank you. Super volunteer forever. So yeah, just share your name, address the boards directly, please. And like, because so the microphone can pick you up. And keep it to 3 minutes or shorter. Mark also didn't want to make a comment because he was presenting. Edgar, if you wanted to make a comment, come on up. If not,
Yes,
okay, cool.
this Karen is first.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
we just switched.
okay, cool. Karen, come on up.
Is there a microphone?
Yeah, it's here. So I usually put a chair out, but the pool committee was meeting right beforehand, so I got distracted. Yeah, this is the microphone, this is the camera.
Oh, I sit here.
Yeah, come on, join, you're part of the table. Pull a chair up.
Right, so, all right, I'm Karen Cathers and I'm on the Ulster Activists, also called UACT Committee, Criminal Justice Reform Committee. And we'd like these two, this is a 2-page statement, and we'd like it submitted to the minutes in today's board meeting, May 20th, 2026. So here we go. Members of the New Paltz community are here. I mean, we're out there somewhere. Members of the New Paltz community are here to formally express grave concerns regarding the allegations of racial discrimination within the New Paltz Police Department. 2 veteran police officers, both who have served over 10 years in the New Paltz Police Department with above average performance ratings, are being subjected to discriminatory treatment. Chief Sutton has circumvented established protocols and the authority of the Police Commission and the New Paltz Town Board. In one instance, the chief bypassed standard protocols by going directly to Ulster County District Attorney Emmanuel Nedzi, where he filed charges against one of the officers. In the other case, the chief did not follow the open meeting law to get the town board to vote in public regarding the discipline of another officer. Given the gravity of the procedural breach and the need to begin to restore integrity of the police department, we believe that Chief Sutton should be terminated immediately. This step is essential to ensure a transparent and impartial review of the situation. We intend to continue addressing this matter publicly with government officials in the village and town to ensure accountability. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll make sure. I'll kind of make copies and send it around. Awesome. Edgar, did you want to make a comment too?
Yes, actually, original illustration for the board. For the board,
Awesome, thank you.
and I will comment on it quickly. I'm Edgar Rodriguez, resident of New Paltz for 50 years, former member of the New Paltz Town Board and Police Commission. This document that you have in front of you, the attachment in the back is the statement that was just read to you. So please forget confused. I will be talking about this document here. We have a large group that's been evaluating the situation with policing in town. It's a complicated, long history with it. It's hard to address in 3 minutes. We have an illustration here. I'm going to walk you through like a good teacher real quickly so that you get a sense of it. It's called A Timeline of Misconduct, Retaliation, Abuse of Power under Chief Sutton. Then it has a chronology, just to highlight some of the things that have occurred. May 2024, the chief is appointed. At the same time, Sergeant Peace is hired over Detective Milton. Detective Milton is the one that is facing jail time on Tuesday in his trial. June 24, Chief Sun's first attempt to unfairly discipline Sergeant James, that's Shannon James, who was just exonerated. In terms of the town board brought charges against him through the police. And there was a binding arbitration decision for him. And the issue now is he going back to work or not? So this is upon the town board needs to decide what happens there. For October, in the June 24 reference, his first attempt at bringing up charges on Sergeant James was refused by the town board at that time. In October, Detective Milton filed a complaint against a detective in his own unit. Following that, in March 2025, S.E. Lewis and myself were appointed to the police commission as police commissioners. During that same month, Detective Milton was placed on administrative leave, and he has been on leave since March of last year, which makes about 14 months that you're paying for his salary. Well, similarly, with James, and I'll speak about it in a second. There's a second attempt to discipline Sergeant James. Chief Sun's second attempt to unfairly discipline Sergeant James occurred during the month of April. In July, the police commission is abolished suddenly by a divided board 2-3. At that time, the chief files a complaint against Essie and myself for discriminating against him as a white male. There was an investigation took place. There's a 50-page document. Essie Lewis and myself were exonerated in terms of having discriminated against a white male employee of the town.
Mind wrapping it up, like 30 seconds?
Okay, I'm almost there.
Thank you.
The next one, September 25, Sergeant James is placed on administrative leave. That was September. He's been paid through September, currently on leave. And then over back in May, the case against Sergeant James, as I said earlier, was dismissed on binding arbitration. On the bottom here, you have the names of the police officers that are no longer with us. And the bottom line, you can also read it and see that it's a clear pattern of retaliation, abuse of power by him. So you have a major issue in your hands, the town board. We're available to provide whatever information we have. And if you have any questions right now, I'm glad to answer them.
Thank you. Okay, so Mia and Tessa, did you want to come up together or one at a time?
We'll pop together.
Okay, cool. If you wanted to sit, feel free to bring another chair. If not, you can just stand and don't stress. 3 minutes, you're good. Go for it.
Good evening, members of the town and village boards. My name is Tessa.
I'm Mia.
And we are here on behalf of our service learning class called Piglet, which focuses on something we believe is essential for the future of our community. Creating a centralized, accessible communication platform for the town and village of New Paltz.
Over the past several weeks, we've spoken with students, longtime residents, local organizations, and small businesses. Across all these groups, we heard the same thing. New Paltz is full of incredible events, opportunities, and resources. There's no single place where the whole community can reliably find them. Right now, information is scattered across Facebook pages, flyers, group chats, individual websites, and word of mouth. This makes it especially hard for new residents trying to get involved, students who want to connect beyond campus, local organizations trying to reach a broader audience, businesses hoping to promote events or services, and even long-term residents who simply want to stay informed.
We're missing opportunities, not because they don't exist, but because they're hard to find. Our class has been researching how other towns have solved this problem. Goshen has adopted a centralized digital hub that makes it easier for anyone to their events, discover what's happening, and stay connected. These platforms have strengthened civic engagement, boosted local businesses, and made their towns feel more unified. We believe New Paltz deserves the same.
As part of our project, we've been in contact with a company that specializes in building community-wide communication apps. They've worked with municipalities across the country and have expressed real enthusiasm about helping New Paltz create something tailored to our needs. Something accessible, visually engaging, and easy for everyone.
Our goal isn't just to build an app, our goal is to build connection, to bridge the gap between campus and town, to support local organizations and businesses, to make information accessible to everyone, not just those who are plugged into the right networks. Tonight, we're asking for your support, not necessarily financial support, but partnership, guidance, and collaboration. We want to work with the town and village to explore what this could look like, what needs it could meet, and how we can move forward together.
New Paltz is already a vibrant, active, and passionate community. With a centralized communication platform, we can make it even stronger, more connected, more informed, and more engaged. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to continuing this conversation. If you think you can support us in any way, whatever it be, technical, financial, if you just have questions or want to learn more, if you have anything software related, we're here and we'd love the support. Thank you.
Thank you, awesome job. And Maureen, did you want to make a comment?
Yes.
Awesome, come on up. So just to reiterate what the gals just said, if you are a billionaire or a software developer, I can get you in touch with them. Okay, come on up.
So could I stand?
Feel free, yeah.
It is noteworthy that following complaints alleging a culture of racism within the New Paltz Police Department, Black officers are once again being hired. This appears to be a calculated effort to counter accusations of racism and create the appearance of reform. I hope that the town board will not be distracted by these actions and will continue to seriously investigate the allegations. And I think the village board could become more active in this also. Last week, the arbitrator in the case involving Sergeant Shannon James dismissed the case against him. Yet despite that outcome, Sergeant James remains on administrative leave rather than being returned to duty to serve and protect the New Paltz community. Next week, another respected officer, Jerome Milton, will stand trial over matters that arguably should have been handled internally. There appears to be a double standard within the department. Allegations involving white officers are often managed quietly and internally, while Black officers facing accusations are placed on administrative leave as a precursor to termination. The town supervisor and town board need to meet with the Ulster County DA to have the charges against Jerome Milton dropped. I urge them to do the right thing and ensure equal treatment and accountability for all officers.
Thank you. Maggie, would you wish to speak? Or did you just sign in?
Did you say?
Oh, yeah, Maggie, did you want to speak or?
You're a little crazy, so, you want to know if I'm ready to speak?
Yeah, I'm just going through everyone who signed in because I realized I made everyone sign in for the grant thing, but.
Yeah, can someone else go?
Okay, sure.
Because I want to turn off my.
Ken F, if you want to speak, come on up.
Sure.
Awesome. And then we'll have Maggie. Maggie's on deck. Cool.
Hi, I'm Ken Franzblau, resident of the town. I want to speak again about the situation with Sergeant James. I've had the opportunity to read the arbitration decision of Jay Siegel, it was dated May 13th. From that, I gathered that Sergeant James has been suspended since September 18, 2025. So this is 8 months now. And I think it's my question, but apparently it's a question I think of a lot of people is when will he be reinstated? You've probably been advised by your labor council that, the appellants of an arbitration decision bear a really heavy burden. Civil practice, law and rules, which is the section of law that governs that, is one of the toughest standards in law. And it's why arbitration decisions are so infrequently overturned by the courts. given the numerous procedural errors cited by arbitrator Siegel in his decision, I ask that you carefully consider if the town or any other party for that matter benefits from continuing to incur legal costs and paying Sergeant James not to work. Even assuming on the off chance that the town would prevail on a possible appeal, what's being gained? Merely just a return of the case to the arbitrator for a hearing on the merits. And then what's gained from that? Sergeant James has been a police officer in the town for 15 years. He attained his rank through his good work and confidence of his superiors, including a predecessor board. He has no prior discipline. He has excellent evaluations. I noticed in the last memorandum of agreement that set forth the current collective bargaining agreement, he was the vice president of the PBA, which shows the respect he has of his peers. I think the question is, are we really going to pursue the unlikely discipline of this officer? Nobody benefits from the continuation of this case. Certainly not the taxpayers. We pay a police sergeant, what, about $102,000 base pay, start ending in longevity payments, pension payments, Social Security, Medicare.
Please keep it to 3 minutes.
I'm sorry?
Please keep it to 3 minutes.
Oh, I still have 1 minute left
Oh,
on
you
the
did,
clock.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm the chair.
Sorry, I wasn't keeping track of that.
Yeah, I have been timing each person.
I apologize.
Sorry.
That's okay, I'm off there, fine. That's okay. The taxpayers aren't benefiting from this. Not a small police department that has limited supervisory capacity. Not the rank and file officer who must wonder what discipline are they going to be subjected to if they don't have his rank or the experience of Sergeant James. And as we're seeing tonight, not the members of the public who've begun to wonder or have stopped wondering and are convinced that there's a lack of fairness, judgment, and good faith in the leadership of this police department. So I urge you to drop any further pursuit of this matter, put Sergeant James back to work immediately. It's really to the benefit of all of us. So it's past time to move on with this already. So thanks.
Thank you. So after Maggie, I have Pierrette.
Okay, my name is Maggie Veve. I've lived in this community for over 50 years, and I really, really love it, except that my experience with the police has really been very different from the past to now. I really had a pretty good experience with the former police chief. Chief Schneider was a gem. And I really found the difference after he retired. I'm going to agree with the calls for requesting a resignation for the police chief, or he either resigns or he is fired. If he's fired, then he can't work anywhere, and I would hate that for him, honestly. I think he is young enough to be able to go to a good place and where he can get better trained and better services and provide better services. But really, from my perspective, I'm concerned about the culture that has been developed. I mentioned it the last time I was here a while ago. You're going to be putting a new police officer into a situation where the culture already is a problem. I'm going to tell you that part of what I understand is there is a culture of nepotism. And very accurately, I can say that the fact that this police is now a police chief stems from nepotism. He was hired by his uncle. Okay, he was hired by his uncle. His wife is the aunt of Mr. Sutton, and I say that because that culture suggests that there's favoritism. You can't really supervise somebody who's your nephew. I mean, it's very hard to do that. That wasn't revealed because they have different last names. We wouldn't have known that, right? Then recently we know that we talk about racism, but the favoritism, there is favoritism in addition to that, because you see some police officers who are allowed to resign somebody today, or you can accept the resignation somebody today who really should have been fired because he was on his last stroke. This is it. You're on your last stroke. And if something happens, you're going to be fired. Instead, you might be accepting his resignation tonight. You shouldn't accept his resignation, because this means that there's a man who we know is an alcoholic, should be getting treatment. He should be given he should be released and fired, or go into a significant treatment plan. He's already had treatment, but the point of it is, you're gonna be releasing this police officer to get hired somewhere else. If he's fired, he can't do that. I'm not suggesting he'd be fired. I'm not suggesting, but I am suggesting, don't accept his resignation unless he goes back for treatment. I really do believe that people do need treatment. You know, you don't just throw somebody on the street.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay. So I also want to say that I've noticed tremendous disrespect of the board. The past board was manipulated by this person, and he didn't give enough information. He changed things that had been expected of the former police chief. And ultimately, I think he really needs somebody who will show respect for the work that you hired them to do. And I want you to understand that, but I'm sorry, 30 seconds, 10 seconds. The biggest thing I have to ask for is, please dismiss the charges against Jerome Milton. These were trumped up charges. He wrote a ticket. He realized his ticket was the new boyfriend of his old girlfriend. He said, I don't want to do that. He thought that would be improper, but he was trying to just get rid of the ticket. I don't know if anybody would go to court, but you go to court and you find yourself getting your case dismissed because you work with the police office. He was trying to avoid that, and that's why he's now with a felony. And that felony is terrible. I mean, that's gonna change his whole life. So now they're claiming he's gonna have a felony.
Do you mind wrapping it up?
Well, I just want you to please drop those charges. Look into it. It's not necessary, you know, and he violated protocol again. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have Pierrette next, and then Diana. No comment? Okay. Diana, did you want to make a comment? Or, no? I had Diana and then Michael. No comment? Oh, sorry. I didn't see that part. I'm like just reading everyone's names. Michael Z, if you want to come on up.
Hi, good evening. I'm Michael Zeeler, Village of New Paltz. I'm gonna change the subject. That's okay. So to all of you, on June 1st, each board will be voting on whether or not to endorse this proposed joint draft consolidation agreement. And I recommend that you vote no on endorsing it, and I will explain why briefly. On each of these two boards, 3 of you have served less than 6 months. So you're new to this role in public service. And when I was first elected to the village board, I quickly realized how little I knew about how our government works, how departments operate, what the responsibilities are of each of our staff members, all the intricacies of municipal budgets, and much more. This was true for me despite having many years of public service on appointed commissions and committees and ad hoc groups. So the experience and understanding that I got came from deliberating on annual budgets, asking questions of our treasurer and department heads about their needs and desires for their departments. It came from talking informally with staff members, meeting people in their departments. It came from attending many meetings with constituents, professional consultants and staff, and meetings of the boards and commissions from whom I was appointed a liaison. It all took time to absorb and assimilate all this information. So I'm asking that for the 6 new board members of the town and village boards, give yourself the time to learn how our governments really work. From the inside out, from our dedicated staff, our consultants, and all of our volunteers. So I'm proposing, instead of holding a referendum on consolidation this November, consider holding it in November of 2028. We can be confident that the turnout for that election will be large. And it allows the 6 of you the luxury of time and on-the-job experience so that you're better equipped to understand the nuances within the critical decisions you're being asked to make about whether or not we should keep it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we had Kristen, followed by Susan. If neither of you wanted to make comments, that's okay. And then Jessica. Okay, and then Tara and Mike were next on deck. I'm just going through the list because I know I made everyone sign in.
Hi, my name is Tara Seedy. I'm from the town of New Paltz. I've come tonight to bring the conversation back to the police department. I came to speak about someone who represents the very best of this community, Shannon James. For more than 20 years, I've had the privilege of knowing him. He's not just my neighbor, but also a close and trusted friend. He's someone who shows up, cares deeply about the people around him, and who carries with him integrity, kindness, strength of character every single day. He also displays these characteristics in every interaction in his work as a town police officer, as you know. He's the kind of person that makes this neighborhood feel like a community, which is extremely important. It's because of that deep respect and frankly that deep concern that I share here tonight with a heavy heart this great anger of what's going on in the police department. I'm disgusted by what I've learned about the discrimination and racial targeting taking place within the department regarding people of color. This is not who we claim to be as a town. This is not what fairness, justice, or public service should look like. No one should have to question whether they're being treated fairly because of the color of their skin. There's absolutely no room in this community for this inequality, for this bias, for this abuse of power. When those who are entrusted to serve and protect instead of create division and harm, it erodes trust in a way that's extremely difficult, to repair. Leadership matters. Accountability matters. And when leadership fails so publicly and so clearly, it can't be ignored. For that reason, I'm calling for the resignation, or removal, I should say, of the current police chief. The actions we have seen, actions that reflect discrimination and racism, have done nothing to strengthen this town. In fact, it has done the opposite. They have undermined the very foundation of trust that this community has and depends on. We owe it to the people like Shannon James, like Milton, and every resident of this town to do better, to stand for fairness, to demand accountability, and to ensure that our institutions reflect the values that we claim to uphold. I urge the town board to do whatever needs to happen in order for the leadership of our police department to reflect fairness, equality, and respect to the public servants and the people of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. The last person signed up in advance is Jarmel. If you wanted to make a comment, okay, cool. Good to see you. If anyone who did not sign up, come on up in an orderly fashion.
I have a question.
Sure, real quick.
Right to come up. So,
Yeah, you can make your question a comment if you don't mind. Yeah.
So week after week, people come up and talk about the racism in Bluefield. And week after week, because I watch, y'all sit there and there's no response, except for the one.
Because we're not allowed to.
Except for the one gentleman who didn't keep track of time, but attacked somebody. So how do we know what's gonna happen? How do we know what you're gonna do? You don't write about it in the paper, nothing's ever said. So are we just going along with the racist police department that is proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, who has broken so many protocols that nothing's gonna happen? I grew up in the South and I can hardly stand. So what's the result? When do we find out if you're gonna do the right thing? How do we know?
Thank you.
All I wanna know.
Thank you. Any last public comments on any issue?
Well, when do we know? What you're gonna do? Is there a time limit?
I mean, so the village abolished the police in 69, 79, so,
So is it now?
yeah.
Do we know?
all I know is that the public input section of the meeting, we're gonna move on to the next thing, and the town section of the meeting will be at the end, and I'm not sure if they'll add something to their agenda, but we'll see. So let's move into the joint meeting, do I need to make a motion for that? No, we already did. So, first topic is consolidation. It's our standing consolidation agenda item. Just a reminder, tomorrow, May 21st, Thursday, we have a workshop meeting, same time, same place, to get into a bigger, deeper joint discussion. But first wanted to pass the mic to Lauren. If you had anything that you wanted to add tonight for this standing agenda items.
Just what you said, that Katie Tobin and Scott, we talked from the Benjamin Center, will be there tomorrow, so if you're interested, they really have a lot of great information and they share it well, so you can come to that meeting as well. And oh, there's a new place that you can find information, not just on the website, but the Village and Town Facebook page will be posting special dates and announcements for consolidation.
And for those who saw, like on the side table, there's a lot of, I just keep printing out information materials, but I printed out, if you're more of a hard paper person or someone in your household is, every time we have a meeting, I print another 10 to 20 copies of each one pager. So feel free to grab those. If we're out of any of them, come tomorrow and I'll have another fresh stack. Are we all good? Sure.
So the joint consolidation agreement that we'll probably discuss in depth tomorrow night says that the village and town agreed to work diligently to identify areas that can be performed in-house in order to reduce extra unit service costs. And this is something I've been thinking about even before my representative was here tonight, which is, have we done any outreach to the town has 80 employees, I don't know how many the village has. Have we talked to them about how they feel about what's coming? And not thinking maybe.
I'm having village all staff lunches now. Yeah, so.
Well, they might not even feel comfortable talking in public.
Yeah.
So what I'm asking is, should we create some sort of confidential survey? And just say, everybody's working so hard as it is right now. Have they had time to read the new 65-page agreement? Do they understand when we say we don't want to pay outside people, so we're going to do a lot of this in-house? What are we asking of them? Do they do this while they're at work? Is it homework? As I read the agreement, that occurred to me, and I think it's something within the next month. I mean, I don't know whether or not we will postpone the referendum, but I really do think we need to take the pulse of our employees and say, are you excited or are you terrified?
Yeah, we can talk more about that tomorrow night, because I can give you a better report back about just, I've spoken to pretty much everybody on village staff, except I think 3 people about it. So I'm working my way through.
I mean, you are one of the point people, as is Lauren, on this. And, you know, I'm sure your employees love you, but I don't know how comfortable they would say, we're terrified. So that's why I was thinking maybe something confidential could be developed.
People have been pretty comfortable saying exactly that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'll bring that notebook tomorrow night, because I didn't bring my consolidation notebook tonight. So I can share more about that with you tomorrow night, Kitty, sorry.
Thanks.
I do like the survey idea though.
Yeah, we are survey girlies, so we can think more about that, definitely. Cool. So do you mind if we just carry on with our meeting? So.
Just that where we find the 65-page.
So everyone can go onto either municipality's website, to find it. On the village website, there's a button that says consolidation. I'm pretty sure the towns is the same, or you can go to LaBerge, their New Paltz landing page.
That's New Paltz, sorry, that's New Paltz Consolidation.com.
Or you can go to the town website, and at the very top of the banner, there's a whole little tab that says consolidation documents.
Thank you.
And I'm making a mental note to send everyone who just asked that question, like a PDF of it after the meeting ends, yeah. And we'll do more to make sure everybody knows exactly that moving forward too. Cool. All right, let's if the boards are cool, let's move on to our second item, which is thanks to trustee Ross, a discussion on how to handle public comments that use violent or defamatory language. So just want to say thanks for asking us to talk about this as a joint group. You know, did you want to kind of say anything about it?
At our last joint meeting, someone spoke. And I think it was just sort of, they were impassioned and using a figure of speech, but they actually said they suggested killing a group of people. You know, and I was like, wow, okay, that's inappropriate. And again, it was clear that that person was a little bit just caught up in the moment and didn't mean it literally. But if somebody from a different perspective had said that, I think we would have all risen from our seats in outrage. And so I think there has to be some sort of just general policy via which we say, oh, you're done talking, you have to sit down now. And then there's some sort of statement that says, as a group, as a village, as a town, we do not endorse violence or whatever. There's got to be some sort of standard operating procedure for addressing that sort of situation. Because it could easily be somebody who is a little bit more serious or whatever. And then if the board doesn't, if our boards do not respond clearly and articulately in an articulate manner, then that could easily become seen as an endorsement or something like that. So. And then Alex got this great thing from our workshop seminar, which talked about addressing people with dignity and building skills for dignified disagreement. So.
Yeah, so I'll try to get my hands on some more of those cards for the rest of the town folks. But when I was at the New York Conference of Mayors annual meeting last week, it just lined up perfectly with that idea that we're bringing this to this meeting. And so it's called the Dignity Project, basically, and it's this woman from Utah. And the background of it is like she's a mom with a bunch of adult children who are each really active politically in completely different political parties, and they all lost touch with each other in the past couple years before she started using her experience. She was like on her town council for many years, and has like a professor background and all that stuff. So then she was like, how do I solve my own like family inability to have constructive conversations when everyone just starts screaming at each other? And she just saw so many connections with her time serving on her town board and created this thing called the Dignity Index. And it's a really helpful tool, and I urge the public to look it up. Like I did this whole intensive workshop on it where it was all about exactly that public comment situation. And how do you always work towards being an 8 on the scale from 1 to 8, and an 8 is just seeing everyone, and being like really radically in the moment of seeing the dignity in literally everyone. And that's how, judges should be. And just, I know folks who were not sure why certain questions are not getting addressed and stuff have left the meeting, but I'll follow up. A big part of public comment is giving people their 3 minutes and kind of playing, the quiet judge who's a sponge, not a faucet, just treating everyone with that 3 minutes of dignity and whatnot. And that's sometimes can be frustrating and also a big source of some of the vitriol that we feel. So that could be a good tool for us. And then I met with a woman from Syracuse University who is actually starting a more localized project to this end and said she would be interested in coming and helping us at some point in the future. So I'll follow up. Yeah, so chime in.
Yeah, I think we need to have a clock that's visible to everybody, because I noticed that some people get extra time and some people don't. And I also caution about free speech here. The tendency of people to give extra time or give extra allegiance when they agree with you, and when they disagree with you, all of a sudden they're like, oh, you can't say that, it is a problem. And so I think if we're gonna make rules like you have to speak for 3 minutes, we have to have a clock that everyone can see, so there's not any kind of. We don't give the people we like 10 minutes to talk and the people we don't like 2. And I've noticed that when I write down the amount of times people talk, that some people get more time and don't get called on it ever, and then other people do. And it's inconsistent, it's not fair, it's not what we talk about. We talk, and free speech is free speech. We have to be very careful on when we do that and be very articulate on why we don't like what they're saying. And this is something that takes some nuances and understanding, but I think we need to have a clock in front of everybody that everyone can see.
Yeah, well, I think if Alex is using her clock, any of us can use our clock as well and help out, and, you know, I'm sure she'll, you know, gladly, hey, you know, we're running close to 3.
Yeah.
No problem.
It might be helpful for the.
I think
person
for the person seeing it, I mean, you
Yeah.
put a timer
Sure.
and have it right in front of them, it's 2 seconds.
Great
to do
idea,
that.
great idea.
And then we don't have this idea of like people getting extra time, not getting extra time, and
Sounds
and
good.
I have seen a lot of inconsistent with me. I've been writing down times, and some people never get cut off, and some people. So we're not consistent.
It's an art, not a science.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have rules, then we need to be fair about it.
Sounds good.
I don't have a problem with giving people an extra couple of seconds. I'm not talking about minutes, but when somebody goes to the trouble of creating a sheet like this and wants to walk us through it, I think it's, I think it behooves us to give them the extra minute. But I also think that when somebody comes with nothing prepared to say and is moved by what they're hearing, we can ask them to try and keep it to 3 minutes, but the 3-minute policy has always been a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's not a hard rule. And it is frustrating to sit here and not be able to respond. But as Tim says, we are not really allowed to do that.
Especially when it involves the courts and personnel.
Exactly. So I hope at some point, we can, announce an answer.
So I was thinking, like, just to Alan's point of bringing this up, maybe it would be helpful to have a more clear statement that we all can vote on at our next meeting as the ground rules, you know, that are again, just policies and not us making amendments to the Constitution, because I would argue that those clocks feel like that. I regularly get, my mic shut off at the county building personally, and have a long history of getting my mic shut off whenever I've attended a town board meeting, not as mayor or deputy mayor. So I'm on the anti-clock team. But we could have that a proposal altogether, but I would really love if maybe 1 or 2 village people and 1 or 2 town people wanted to kind of construct what would be a better kind of ground, here are the ground rules, and we can put that on our agendas or something, because that would be very helpful. Especially as our first ever openly queer mayor, chairing these meetings can get kind of scary when people start actually talking about violence, for real.
Maybe some baseline policy that
Yeah.
says that if somebody advocates violence, there you can't talk anymore.
That was at a joint meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the old agenda.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Did they say just shooting or something? Is that?
It's just fired up.
I just have one more comment. Since we've had to eliminate participation by Zoom, I'm just wondering if we're going to have this committee, if there's a way we can establish some kind of policy by which if you want to participate in public comment via Zoom, you send an email to the clerk, with your name, telephone number, address. And if the clerk cannot respond to those things, you don't get in. But if you pass that test, also, at 3 minutes, as you pointed out, you can turn off the mic. So, yeah, I just like to think about that. I know, I wanted to attend the village planning board meeting last night. And Mike reminded me of the unilateral decision not to participate listen, which I understand because we've had such horrible bombs. But I'm just wondering if we can think about a way to gently reactivate that.
Yeah, let's work through that. Yeah, like I have no response on the spot other than like, geez, like it would be nice to be way more accessible.
Yeah.
Without putting that same stress on our staff that like they were experiencing.
Yeah.
That, that's so unfair and like something like when I was clerking meetings, didn't have to deal with that. I did have to deal with like men slamming their fists on the table, like that was nuts, but never had any people like online, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's the sort of thing where I can envision how it would work, but the actual details could be tricky. So let's think about it.
Yeah, let's think about it. And we have so many good resources that we can rely on for like, how to handle this, including all the other electeds in the state. So let's all do some homework. Did you have anything else you want us to kind of cover tonight?
No.
Cool. So did anyone want to did you want to help maybe Alan, like work on like kind of a blurb that would help the ground rules setting, and anyone on the town want to work with Alan on that? Like literally a sentence I think would make a difference.
I'll work with you. Thanks, Sean.
Cool. Make sure to follow up and next month we'll see what we have and take it from there. Thanks. So the next item is bicycle pedestrian safety. The supervisor and I and a number of folks from our bicycle pedestrian committee had a pretty awesome meeting with the New York State DOT last week. I just want to say like the one big takeaway I had is there were surprise sidewalks involved. Yeah, like, which is like, you never hear that happening. But brilliantly, the DOT has like, heard our myriad pleas like throughout the ages. They have seen the too many tragedies, and near tragedies that continue to occur all over our community, thanks to having these like state highways running through a walkable downtown. And they figured out some ways to get some more sidewalk length on 208, like from South Side along like the college like softball fields. So you can actually like walk that way in the near future rather than it being like a maybe someday thing. So that's my biggest takeaway. Tim, I don't know if you had anything else to add for now.
Yeah, I think there's like been a cultural shift at the DOT because we've had a lot of meetings with them over the years, asking them for sidewalks and crosswalks and pedestrian safety improvements. And, I know Alex, wearing a few different hats, and I have sat in those rooms and felt really frustrated. And there's just been some personnel changes at the DOT, and they definitely don't have a magic wand. They can't do anything and everything that we want, but they're definitely pretty focused on using the resources that they have to make things better. So, we shared that with them, that we were very appreciative and noticing that, the staff are pretty motivated to make changes.
Yeah, so that was exciting.
And there's gonna be a bunch of new sidewalks in our village. I mean, it's part of a 10-year-long project.
Yeah.
But, that's the thing, is you have to constantly wrangle and shepherd them to make sure that these things are headed in the directions that we want them to be headed in. So it was good to see that they are.
The new rail trail is just making more and more people be more and more active. And so it's just like a snowball effect now. Like everything's just getting better and better. It's so wild how cool it is. And how much more comfortable I feel with my children trying to go east-west in the village. when they won't get killed by a car going up John Street. So huge fan of that.
So I just want to add to that, that my comments last night to the village planning board about the Woodland Pond traffic study. I noted that it describes, Henry W. Du Bois as having lanes on both sides of the road, so it's kind of obsolete. But more, surprisingly, it never mentions that the intersection, our favorite intersection, 299 and Main Street, is also part of the Empire State Trail. And as Sean knows, if you look at the Greenway stats, 600,000 people visit that trail every year, and there was no discussion of the impact on biped users of that intersection. So that's scary, and I brought it to their attention, and I'm sure they will fix it.
Awesome. Yeah, so on that note, one other outcome of that awesome, exciting meeting, is our next agenda item, which, I think we'll have as like a first read for tonight, because I got it to everyone very late, you know, because I broke my own rules. No, but because I wanted to make sure, I listened, because I had recorded that meeting with the DOT, so I wanted to listen to the notes and then look over all of my notes from all of the bike ped committee meetings, and then look back at all the other resolutions and emails sent to the DOT throughout history. So yeah, if we can kind of revisit that next time, I start adding some comments where I'm going to get a little bit more data. And I did want to make sure to follow up with Principal Hogan, from the middle school, because he had some like good points in that meeting with the DOT that I'm like, I kind of want to add as like direct quotes maybe, but with permission. So, you will have it, the public will be able to see it on the next agenda too, and we can, I think at the next joint meeting, delve into it and pass it and get a speed zone by the middle school so that things can be safer. Sweet. Okay, so then next we have our resolution declaring June LGBTQIA+ Pride Month. And so it is 4 pages long. I will read through it as quickly as possible. Some of it, not all of it. Come on.
Just give it 3 minutes or less.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll be protesting us then. So yeah, and I will make sure we share it out, but basically, I did want to make sure to point out that, because again, this is a big part of our revolutionary New Paltz like 250 celebrations, like Pride is a part of it. So just want to remind everyone, whereas the village of New Paltz made history in Peace Park, February 27th, 2004, as a location of the first same-sex marriages in the country outside of San Francisco, under former Mayor Jason West, who was subsequently arrested, whose efforts led to widespread national public attention, resulting in greater acceptance and enacted laws granting same-sex marriages. Whereas the village of New Paltz also made history this year by appointing me our first ever openly queer mayor. Whereas we have been hosting the annual regional Pride March and Festival in June for the past 2 decades now. We're continuing this tradition. Village and town served as a leader in this way in the growing New Paltz Pride Coalition, which is hosting the annual event taking place Sunday, June 7th. Whereas this year's New Paltz Pride March and Festival Grand Marshals will be Stephen Hengst and his partner Patrick Decker, who co-founded Big Gay Hudson Valley in 2008, and have focused on creating experiences and promoting resources that empower people to make new connections, explore the Hudson Valley, and live in their authentic LGBTQ+ selves. They are New York State's only multi-channel resource for regional LGBTQ+ travel. Big Gay Hudson Valley serves 150,000+ digital users annually, and they are a huge helper and supporter of all of our efforts here in New Paltz. So come through, and they will be behind me in the march this year. And I want to switch through, get to the other timely stuff. So therefore be it resolved, the village and town of New Paltz declare June 2026 LGBTQIA+ Pride Month and memorialize It is such in this resolution as a symbol that we stand as allies in the intersectional LGBTQ+ movement that continues to struggle with ongoing issues of racial and economic justice and challenges to civil and human rights. And be it further resolved that our municipalities stand committed and united to help break down the walls of fear and prejudice, and will work to build a bridge to understanding and acceptance until all LGBTQ+ people are afforded the same rights and responsibilities as all Americans. And be it further resolved that the village and town of New Paltz support New York State legislation currently being considered in Albany that can further protect and defend LGBTQ+ lives, including a bunch of things that Governor Hochul vetoed at the last minute last year. So these include the Freedom to Read Act, which would prohibit schools and public libraries from banning books based on identity, like being LGBTQ+ or their families, Gender Identity, Respect, and Safety Act. This bill relates to treatment and placement of incarcerated peoples based on their gender identity. Comprehensive sex education. This would establish the Healthy and Safe Students Act. There's more details about it in the resolution, and the privacy amendment, which would amend the Constitution by adding a right to privacy. And again, check out the resolution for more details. And be it further resolved that the village and town hereby urge all to participate in the New Paltz Pride March and Festival on Sunday, June 7th, and call upon residents, employers, public officials, and all community members to work together to promote equal rights for all, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, and does further encourage all to observe the month of June with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities that celebrate our diversity and recognize LGBTQ+ Americans whose many and varied contributions have enriched our lives. And so I move this resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome, thank you. I did that.
It was a joint resolution?
Yeah.
Aye.
I'm like, I didn't hear a resounding aye, come on.
I thought it was just, I heard village at the beginning, so yes, great, wonderful.
Awesome, yeah, I have to just make sure we stick the town seal on the top, but yeah, we're on it. Thank you, thank you. Our next item, I thought I would have like a good rundown, related to money that we're pursuing that will help us all. But today, the state legislature passed their 14th, budget extension. So, all I know is that our senator assembly member, are actively excited to get to the point where they actually talk about dollars and cents to stand up for the student impact aid money that will be printed in the final budget bills, but they still haven't even printed the bills yet. So I don't have any fun updates about it being bigger than in the past yet. Stay tuned. And then the autism friendly city, I'll have a proposal for us next time, working with local speech pathologists who worked with us to get the core communication board in Hasbrook Park, and some other folks on that. It's apparently like a very rare accreditation with this one program, but I'm like, oh, we could do that. And there's also a community member who her like life's mission is to pass like a communication bill of rights in New York State. And so I was looking at that and I was thinking, oh, we could probably adopt a local version of it. So I'll have materials and stuff for you all in the coming month. But if anyone else is interested, like text me, email me, call me, and we can work together on that. Yeah.
I'd like to do that.
Awesome. Cool. And that, I feel good just having an update to say there's interest, to Stephanie, so, and Evelyn, yeah, so cool, thank you. So next, is this awesome resolution, do we need to read it into the record, or?
I can quickly summarize.
Yeah, could you please?
So this is a resolution to memorialize the passing of Henry Schulte. He was the only New Paltz resident to die in the Vietnam War. He was drafted in 1968, he died a year later in 1969. So the idea is to memorialize him with some brown historic signs underneath the Mountain Rest Road signs. So at the intersection of Mountain Rest and Springtown, and then up at Butterville and Mountain Rest. So we had.
There's significance to the location that we live in there.
A couple folks from the community asked about that section, so I think, yeah, he does have some, family connection to Mountain Rest Road. And I checked with the county and they're good with it, and our highway superintendent is very supportive of
Awesome.
this
The
as well.
Schultes live on that.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. So I move to approve the joint resolution for the Henry Schulte Memorial Highway proposal. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. I'm really excited about that. So I move to adjourn the joint section of tonight's awesome meeting and call to order the village board only section, which it was already in order, but yeah, just, yeah.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, okay. I think I already moved to adopt the village consent agenda, but just in case I move it again. Okay, I did. All right, so don't second it. So first up, we've got, oh, Jesse, New Paltz Way Hotel. So, let us look at this. So there's been some updates.
I'm gonna move that the town board goes into executive session.
Yeah, that's open.
Okay, cool.
So you don't have to be in the garage this time, unless you want to. Yeah.
Garage was awesome.
Yeah, but there's better lighting.
So Warren seconded my motion. I don't know if you heard that.
Okay, awesome. At 8:22. Good luck, guys. All right, so yeah, back to the village stuff. Let's talk about the New Paltz Way Hotel. I guess I need to get some updates to the rest of the board. But did you want to come up?
Yeah, sure.
That would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just gonna go through text and email threads. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're-
Sorry for the late email to you.
No worries.
Thanks for.
We're working through it, and thank you so much for sitting through one whole
Yeah,
agenda to get to this.
you guys have a lot of challenges. I appreciate you addressing, so. I think sometimes it's a thankless job, and I just want to thank you for, caring enough to actually work through the challenges. It's tough.
Thank you.
From what I can see from the audience. I obviously met with you had some great ideas, and I met with Rich Soto, right? I know I spelled that wrong, and I actually apologized to him on the side and said, sorry, I spelled your name. Anyway, the fence is, you're probably right. That's probably not a great idea. So we thought, instead of putting the fence there, to put the train track heads that we have stockpiled along with the interpretive signage, and basically a barricadable fence that would make that area safer that was in question. We do that at our own expense. And today we actually restored the bench on site. So there's no more graffiti there, and it actually has a back that you can actually sit on now. Yes, absolutely. I'm happy to help. Rich and I talked about that, and we talked about that a while back, and he had a friend that he wanted to kind of remember his friend on that side. I think you guys are all friends with the person that passed away, and I didn't know him, but I think now it's kind of in a state that could be, he could be recognized there. I don't know, thoughts, questions, do you guys like the idea?
Yeah, thank you for being, flexible and whatnot. This is how the best stuff happens. I think the idea of moving that interpreted, the rail stuff, onto that parkland space, is really actually a benefit. That's really cool. So, I really appreciate that.
And we don't plan to disturb much of any area here either. I did this sketch, I don't know if you guys had a chance to review it, but, it's basically this area, this is the old, piling structure that is, you know, there, right? But there's a significant drop off there, and we believe that, you know, obviously with the hotel, there's gonna be higher traffic in that area, and, you know, this fence will, or railing, we should say the railing is gonna be the same railing that is used along the rail trail. It would be the same railing, the same height of that railing, unless somebody didn't like that height, but, you know, the idea was to just give it some more of a barricade and not have a situation where somebody could just basically walk off that side, so.
Yeah, so, you know, and I'm happy to help walk anyone through it, and Jesse's been so awesome. Like I said, last meeting, I like, you know, met up with Rich, met up with me, and like to kind of walk through it, so if anyone needs that, let us know. So I went and like looked into what exactly the next steps of the process would be, so we could like make a motion if you all wanted to tonight, to get the ball rolling. Basically, the building department would have to just look at they require fence permits for fences on property, so, basically, I would have to sign off on allowing to make that permit request, which, if you guys are all down, I do a motion in a minute. Just FYI, Jesse, the village would then require insurance information, and all of that, just like any regular thing that you do with building.
Of course, yeah.
Which you know
So we,
really
yeah,
well.
we're already, they have our insurance.
Yeah, exactly. So typical, process there, just like slightly altered. So, I would just want to make sure to, basically, I would have to also do my due diligence, which I didn't get a chance to before the meeting, but I think make a motion, taking into account, just making sure the rail trail likes this new proposal and stuff.
I copied her, so I don't.
Yeah,
no.
exactly, and that makes it so, thank you, that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
my job a lot easier too. So, basically, my move would be like to move for the board to authorize the developer to apply for the building permit to erect that fence in the location noted in this discussion pending, like an okay on the location, the idea, from the Walk Hill Valley Land Trust.
Second.
Okay, discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Awesome, okay, great.
Cool.
So
Thank
that's
you.
great, that'll be really nice, I think it's gonna be a nice, addition and actually draw traffic rather than stop it.
Thank you,
Yeah,
and again,
no.
thanks for bearing with our long multi-meetings
Yeah, no
and
worries at all.
all this stuff, yeah.
One thing I did wanna ask a question about was, the one that I originally proposed, I don't know that you guys ever discussed that. Or maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but.
Yeah, we didn't get to it.
Walk Hill Valley Land Trust approved this as long as you guys were okay with it, which would be carrying this fence along the trail on the east side of the trail, right?
Yeah, on your side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think at that last meeting, we had said we were cool with that.
So I don't even know what the fence looks like.
Oh, it's the same fence as that's on the rail trail now. Yeah, we would work with Paul Colucci that I think installed a lot of it anyway. It's 6 or 8x8 posts, pressure treated lumber. And there's 3 2x6s that you know, run horizontally along those posts.
Like colored one.
What's the purpose of the fence?
So there has to be a fence, okay, because we have a wall here, right? And now it's open, right? So
You shouldn't have a drop off?
there's a drop off at our property edge. So we're gonna have to put a fence there no matter what. It's just, we thought, why not give this a bit of a barrier, right? Where there could be vegetation that grows along here. And seen by everybody, really, seen by the people at the hotel, but also seen by the people, passerbyers.
And your property line is at the green?
The property line is. Show you exactly where it is. And just so you have a little history on this, there were trees that needed, unfortunately, that needed to be taken down. There were some that were, you know, diseased, but we did take down a couple of trees. And then what we did is we put trees back up. I think there were 8 in total. We put new trees up. But that took place with the Wallkill Valley Land Trust. And I think town approval 10, 12 months ago. So yeah, let me show you.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a motion needed on that side. But it's just helpful to know what we're doing. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're the ones that get the questions.
Let's see.
Oh, is it clear, you're planning to put a fence on your property or around?
No, it's actually on yours, yeah. And it's Wallkill Valley Land Trust, easement, you know, so I went to them first and then they're like, okay, we're okay with it. Talk to New Paltz.
But they put it on other parts of the rail trail, so they like having fences along the rail trail.
Correct, yeah. There's fences, I mean, there's fences that lead up, here's the one flare here, and there's another flare here. And this is all open, and then this is all open, and what we were proposing over on the west side. But then we're just proposing to just continue to run this fence straight along. So let me just show you really quick. So the blue line is that's the surveyed stuff. So you can see this jog here is this jog here. And then this is the rail trail here. It actually, interestingly enough, oh yeah, here, so it stops here. Or did it stop there? I don't know. Why does it? Well, maybe it stopped there at one point. I don't know. Anyway, it seemed like we didn't take any fence down, so just so you're aware. But this fence we would continue this fence along to this rock out property that I showed you while we were there. And then we also provided a path through here and onto the trail.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so now it's not, it was proposed as a stairwell, but we decided to make it a path so people could just walk their bikes down without having to take it down the stairs.
Yeah.
And that'll have a railing on our wall, you know, obviously to prevent anybody from falling down.
Yeah, well, sounds good.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so east side, I think that was between you guys and rail trail last meeting. I think we said we were like cool with that part.
Awesome.
You know, for west side, we just approved that you can go ahead to the planning board.
Amazing.
Do your, not planning board, department, sorry.
Oh my God.
I'm so tired.
Okay, so am I. Let me get out of here.
Yeah,
Okay.
awesome.
Thank you so much. All right, I'll get on.
Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Building department, cool. Awesome. So next, I had forgotten to get this motion last meeting. So I wanted to make sure we did it this time. To basically, or I'll make the motion, we'll get a second quick discussion, I'll explain more. So I moved to direct the village clerk to add the Revolutionary New Paltz landing page to the front landing page of the village website for the duration of the celebrations.
Second. Nope. Second.
Jasmine said a second, woohoo. Quick discussion, just like, I thought this would be a good chance to just remind the public that there is like a whole separate Revolutionary New Paltz landing page, and it's like a calendar of events and stuff, so that's basically, and we are a partner, and we want to make sure, people can find that stuff, so, I was thinking I'll also write a letter as an announcement, so people can get that in their inboxes too.
That's a good idea.
Cool, all in favor? Aye. Next, I move to approve the contract with Blower and Associates as shared by the amazing Mark Blower for the purposes of submitting our small cities grant application for the price of $7,000.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. I move to adopt resolution regarding bills and claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any reports, planning board, ZBA?
Well, Rich isn't here for
Yeah.
planning board, so ZBA, they heard, a residential business thing, B2 district, which I have to say, they really do a great job thinking these things through and contemplating what all the ramifications are to approval or disapproval. So that was, I thought, really well done and kind of, I think, helps to strengthen, keep the integrity of the business of the B2 district. At the same time that they, address the needs of the applicants. And then they did a long sort of session with, Woodland Pond, who's, proposing a huge addition. Wants a variance, side variance, and anyway, so that was in process, but they were just in discussions and that, was thoughtful also, so that's it.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and then as far as, the monthly report from Building Planning Zoning Department, that was on our first agenda of the month, so people can refer back to that, and I shared, earlier, the exciting announcement that, we have gotten our rental registry in order for the first time in years. It's live online and it updates to the minute. And this is something I worked on with people who were teenagers, piglets trying to get credit 10 years ago, who are now grown-ups. Yeah, so we got that done. So that's the big update. All right, I move to adjourn the village portion of this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I guess I'll cut the mic, until the town comes back. And, sign some stuff.
Four and then.
Like we've been close.
Sign that microphone. Yeah. We'll be back. We're
Sean moved to leave exec session and Lauren seconded it. We're not taking any action regarding executive session.
Simply a gentleman.
Sorry. I move the authorization to approve the May 2026 warrant. All in favor?
About it.
Go ahead.
I'm having a hard time figuring out where the consolidation money is coming from. I looked at the warrant and there are several bills. I know that a lot is coming out of the B fund. Are we ever gonna have just like a dedicated line for consolidation?
Sure, we can just create a memo just to explain like, you know, what was paid for. But what we've done is the Craig grant that was secured by the village last year. So the village, I think, paid 40, no, I think the bill was like 43,000, about 20, or no, the bill was 42,000 and 23 was paid by the Department of State's Craig grant. So there's still some grant money left. So we're trying to work with the village to see how that can be secured for some of this consolidation billing. But the thinking is that the village paid for all of that $22,000 last year. So the town's B fund is paying for the expenses right now. But our fingers are crossed that we'll be able to access some of that Craig grant money. Because the Craig grant is for up to $50,000 and we've only spent 22-ish.
Well,
So it's a
the
work in
warrant
progress.
shows a total of 47,000.
For the LaBerge, yeah, because so we've paid LaBerge two invoices that were both north of 20K, so 47.
So shouldn't the village be paying half of that?
Well, the village paid for the dissolution study last year in its entirety.
Let's just get a balance sheet.
Yeah.
It just feels to me like. I don't understand how the B fund, which is usually planning and building department, is the right place for this.
Well, just that it's silo, it's not A fund, it's B fund. So you would take B fund money if you're having the village pay for a portion and the town pay for a portion out of the B fund. It doesn't have to be, the only reason that historically it's like building department is because we have two different building departments.
Yes, so I, searched the internet, which is frequently wrong. So with that as my caveat, it just said, ensuring the consultant's contract is explicitly drawn from the town A fund and matched by a concurrent appropriation from the village's general fund is the recommended process. So
Well, we could do it however we want. I mean, that would be a curious way of doing it too, because then village voters or
I
village
know.
taxpayers would
I
be
was
paying it
surprised
twice.
by that.
Yeah,
But can we just ask our auditor, what is your recommendation?
sure. Okay.
Okay. Great.
Okay, so item number 2 is so did we move the warrant? All in favor? Aye. Engagement of Near Past to conduct an impartial, independent investigation into allegations of implicit racial bias with the management of the New Paltz Police Department. So we've been discussing some of these things. Kate, did you want to share about some of your thoughts and input regarding the direction we should be headed in?
Sure. I've been talking with Kate Nearpass. I have a lot of confidence in her ability to continue the work that she's already been doing, and flesh out this investigation on the foundation that's already laid. She did a lot of work investigating, not that specific issue, but the investigation that she already conducted revealed a lot that I think will be helpful for this, more specific question. And we also discussed the importance, not just an investigation coming from this, but of a set of recommendations and best practices. We don't want to just throw more trainings at a situation. We want to get some real feedback on what we specifically can do to address this issue and take it seriously.
So do we want to vote tonight to engage, because at our last meeting, we took a straw poll saying that we were interested, but we wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to weigh in. So all in favor of engaging Nearpass to conduct this independent investigation?
Fine.
Fine. So that was 5 ayes.
Yep.
Okay. Next item. Number 3 on the business agenda, request authorization to increase the 26 adopted budget using fund balance to purchase the 2025 international as follows. I'd like to move that. Someone second it, all in favor?
Aye.
And then, to Kitty's question, this is related to, LaBerge, so, we'll list all the dollar amounts and how much this work costs, but this is one piece of that puzzle. It's a request to authorize payment to LaBerge for $25,787.26 from the B fund for work done on consolidation. Someone want to second it? All in favor?
For discussion.
Okay.
There's a balance of 84,913 in the B fund, unless I'm looking at the wrong part of the B fund. But
Was that HO7 or the B fund?
well, that's my question.
Well, HO7 is its own.
HO7 or
Well, I mean, there should be a lot more than that in the B fund.
maybe I was looking in the wrong place, but are we using, HO7 is just for capital improvements?
Well, HO7 is really for anything at this point. I mean, originally it was segregated during the Zimmet administration, and the thinking was it would be used for a capital project related to a municipal building, but that was never acting, there was no action taken to make it a restricted fund. So basically, it has been used for those purposes, but it's not restricted. So it makes sense to just at this point, probably just to move it all back into the A fund.
Okay, and again, if we could just get verification, because my understanding of the actual designation HO7 means that it's dedicated as a capital improvement fund. So that's what I remembered about it. So let's just verify. That is my understanding of what an HO7 fund means.
Okay. Next item, request authorization to pay Butler Construction. And this is related to the backup water supply project. Does someone want to second that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
Is
then
this all reimbursable under that contract?
DEP, yeah, should be DEP reimbursable.
We should probably say that every time we pass one of these things.
So the next one is not reimbursable.
Okay.
This is to pay MCSJ $5,280 for cloud storage solutions. And this is that we did some research, and this was probably a more cost-effective way than a different path that we were going down. So I was glad that we identified this as an option. Does someone want to second it?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I move that we approve the hiring of Terrence Yan as a part-time police officer at the current collective bargaining rate effective on or after May 22, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Be nice to have it back.
Yeah, I think we all enjoyed that
Interview.
that Zoom call interview that we did. He should be definitely a valuable team member to add. The next item on the business agenda, accept the resignation of Sergeant Evan Redmond effective May 13, 2026. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And Memorial Pool SNAP discussion. So this is just kind of like put back on the agenda, but we covered this at our last meeting, just in terms of how the SNAP policy would be administered, because we were, I think, considering trying to make it available to, get passes from the community center, and there's really no need to do that. So this just makes it more clear in terms of how that SNAP policy will work, and I think okay, I'm gonna skip it, no, go ahead.
Is it, my understanding was that families that didn't have SNAP could go to the library? and-
Yes.
Is that still? part of
Yes.
it? Yeah.
There's still library passes good for a day that anyone can take from the library and then visit the pool. Right, but then the important thing with the pool that we talked about in the opening announcements was we're waiting for the pump to be delivered, so. You know, we're not selling those summertime seasonal applications until the pool is installed. And then I move that we authorize to approve the MOA between the town of New Paltz's general unit and the UPSI employee unit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then I move that we authorize approval of the health insurance buyout. So this is from a few years ago. But we finally cleaned that up. Someone want to second it?
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
And I think we've all been, you know, we've had a couple of discussions about the gun sale policy. You know, we can continue to have that unless you guys feel comfortable about having that conversation tonight. I'm fine putting it back on a forthcoming agenda.
I'm totally kicking that.
Yeah. Okay, well,
I mean, why not just go on it tonight?
do you
Oh,
want to?
because-
No, I can vote.
Okay.
Thanks. No, I don't.
So you wanna,
I think we can call it on.
okay,
We've heard from the public, we've heard from.
so what's your motion?
I'm not. What is my motion? The motion is that we vote on the draft policy on gun sales. We're voting to accept it or we're voting?
This is why I was thinking, let's just circle back with this. Right? Or do you wanna take an action tonight?
I mean, I think there are people in the audience who are waiting to hear our decision. So I think the third time it's been on our agenda.
This would be the third time on our agenda, yeah.
So,
But at that, like, what is our motion? Because we do have a policy and then we have talked about not selling any guns at all and having them all distributed or destroyed by a licensed distributor. So that could be a motion if that's what you want to do. You know, because we were thinking of like ways to like destroy some of them and then still generate some income for reselling the other ones, or we could just get rid of all of them.
We could vote to approve this policy that's been written for us by our lawyer. And if we don't all agree on it, we can have further discussions on it.
well, that's interesting. I'm actually not in favor of the policy. It's
Then vote no, then we would know that we're not
going
gonna do that.
Not to accept this draft policy.
Okay, so let's put it to one.
Yeah, I mean, we could just create our own policy if the idea is like, let's not sell any guns. Right, that's what's central policy.
So we can put it on the agenda for next time with that policy for a vote.
Okay. We can also just motion to create that policy. We don't have to have like a document.
So that's my motion. My motion is not to accept the draft policy.
Okay, friendly amendment to your motion. We do not sell any guns. Destroy them all.
I accept your.
That's my friendly amendment. Okay?
Okay. So the amendment is not to accept the policy and not to sell guns.
During this current batch, yep.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Second.
Who calls the vote?
I just did. So I'm calling the question. So you were,
I am an I,
okay,
I think that's the way
Yeah.
to do it, okay.
okay. What do you want to do, Sean?
Nay.
Okay, nay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, vote not to sell the guns. Okay, all right. And then I move that we authorize to pay Gordon and Svensson $5,105 from the B fund for work on consolidation. Someone want to second that? All in favor? Aye.
I'm
And then,
happy to pay them, I just wanna understand when the village is paying half these bills.
yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so yes, but yes.
I move that we authorize to approve hiring Omar Santos as a sub lifeguard, change that typo at Moriello Pool at a rate of $18 an hour with a start date of May 21 and an end date of September 12th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else that we want to discuss tonight? Or should we adjourn? Oh, we'll be back here tomorrow at 7
Oh, that's
to
right.
have a presentation from the folks at the Benjamin Center about consolidation. Okay. Move to adjourn. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.